So speaking of Tulsi, that's one thing I really did want to talk with you about today was the debate. And I thought, I think everybody thinks that Tulsi had a great showing. I know just hearing in casual conversation, people bringing up Tulsi Gabbard. She was actually the most searched for candidate in every single state during the debate. And, I think this, even though that happened last time, it happened in the first debate. I think personally that her performance was a little bit better. Her the first performance was a little lackluster. This new performance I thought was a lot better. She broke out a bit more. She made a name for herself by going after Kamala Harris.
I want to bring the conversation back to the broken criminal justice system that is disproportionately negatively impacting Black and brown people all across this country today. Now, Senator Harris says she's proud of her record as a prosecutor and that she'll be a prosecutor president, but I'm deeply concerned about this record. There are too many examples to cite, but she put over 1,500 people in jail for marijuana violations and then laughed about it when she was asked if she ever smoked marijuana. She blocked evidence. She blocked evidence that would have freed an innocent man from death row until the courts forced her to do so. She kept people in prison beyond their sentences to use them as cheap labor for the state of California. And she fought to keep cash bail system in place that impacts poor people in the worst kind of way.
Thank you, Congresswoman. Senator Harris, your response.
As the elected Attorney General of California, I did the work of significantly reforming the criminal justice system of a state of 40 million people, which became a national model for the work that needs to be done. And I am proud of that work. And I am proud of making a decision to not just give fancy speeches or be in a legislative body and give speeches on the floor, but actually doing the work of being in the position to use the power that I had to reform a system that is badly in need of reform. That is why we created initiatives that were about reentering former offenders and getting them counseling. It is why, and because I know that criminal justice system is so broken, that I am an advocate for what we need to do to not only decriminalize, but legalize marijuana in the United States.
I want to bring Congresswoman Gabbard back in. Your response,
The bottom line is, Senator Harris, when you were in a position to make a difference and an impact in these people's lives, you did not. And worse yet, in the case of those who were on death row, innocent people, you actually blocked evidence from being revealed that would have freed them until you were forced to do so. There is no excuse for that. And the people who suffered under your reign as prosecutor, you owe them an apology.
Of course, after that, you had Kamala Harris attacking her in the post-debate interview with Anderson Cooper.
Did you expect that from Tulsi Gabbard? Had you had interaction about that in the past? And how do you think it went?
Well, I mean, listen, this is going to sound immodest, but I'm obviously a top-tier candidate, and so I did expect that I would be on the stage and take hits tonight because there are a lot of people that are trying to make the stage for the next debate.
Yeah, for a lot of them, it's do or die.
Well, yeah, and especially when people are at 0 or 1% or whatever she might be at. And so I did expect that I might take hits tonight. But, listen, I think that this coming from someone who has been an apologist for an individual, Assad, who has murdered the people of his country like cockroaches. She who has embraced and been an apologist for him in a way that she refuses to call him a war criminal. I can only take what she says in her opinion so seriously. And so I'm prepared to move on.
I think this time, the position that Joe Biden was in, Kamala got put in by Tulsi, because everybody else, they know that Kamala met with the Hillary Hampton squad. Then she went to the Hamptons and she was the chosen candidate as of 2017. They know that if they step on the wrong toes, it's not just Kamala they're stepping on. Who does Kamala have running campaign? All of Hillary's people. So all of the new establishment. And so if they attack Kamala, they're messing with a lot of jobs. They're messing with a massive network, and they were not going to go anywhere near her. Biden is different. Biden is part of the old guard and the old establishment. They're almost on their way out, one way or the other, if you catch me. So they know better. Now, with Kamala, Tulsi just does not like her, it seems like. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, the official position of the campaign is just policies, right? So that's the official position. Now, personally, when, like, I try to think of it from people's, like, real personal perspective, because at the end of the day, these politicians are human beings. When you see someone who is constantly protected in a cocoon of her identity, and then weaponizes that identity against everybody else, and then when you call her out for policies, because they're seeing all of this, right? They may not always speak on it, but everybody sees it. You call Kamala out a racist. It was like, what about her keeping people in jail, innocent people in jail, destroying evidence? No, you're a racist. You're a sexist. Okay?
Right.
But Kamala never cared about being black before. She never talked about her Jamaican father before. Like, I've tracked her Senate race, I tracked her AG race, and her DA race. All she talked about was being Indian, because back then, being quote unquote black could be a liability for her in a city that is dominated by Southeast Asians and East Asians. So she never ran on being black then. It was now. Now, mind you, who's the one that's tied to Modi, for better or for worse, even if you love him or hate him? It's Tulsi, based off of nothing but the fact that she's Hindu. Kamala is actually Indian. Kamala is very close to her Indian side of the family, and Kamala has openly celebrated Modi, but who's attacked for it strictly based off of her religious identity? Tulsi. So from her perspective, and she may not even be conscious of it, right? But everybody sees it. So you see a one woman being wrapped up in a cocoon of her identity, and then using that to weaponize against other people, and then Tulsi being personally attacked for her identity. I think it low-key set her off. And then people don't really, I don't think people know this, but Kamala, I don't think that Kamala went to that Homestead Detention Center. What she did was she actually, because she's been watching Tulsi, she took Tulsi's experience, the live stream experience of her at the Homestead Detention Center with the Immigration Detention Center with the kids, and literally gave a play-by-play on that debate stage. A play-by-play of what Tulsi did, of what Tulsi went through, what Tulsi saw, how she tried to get in and couldn't. She had to go stand on the ladder to see over top the fence, because I was like literally right there recording it. It wasn't Kamala. And I'm sure that Tulsi was going to speak about that. Something that was very personal. She almost cried while she was there. And I think that was something else that kind of, like, I can tell you for a fact that actually wasn't scripted. She wasn't actually planning on going after Kamala like that. But I think that, I think it was necessary. It's funny because it was kind of the same situation happened with Tim Ryan, right? Tulsi was a little reserved. Tulsi was kind of, because she's a shy person naturally, she wasn't talking over anybody. But then Tim Ryan had the nerve to look at her and say, we should stay in Afghanistan. When you've seen the amount of bodies that she has, when you see the amount of blood that she has, and Tim Ryan has no service whatsoever, has never been deployed, is telling us we need to stay out there, like, it sets her off. So, and when she is set off, as people have noticed, it is very hard to rein her back in. So, hey, I'm cheering. I'm hoping people keep setting her off.